the campus of the National Police College of Jamaica for another passing out ceremony. It is a ceremony by the Jamaica Constabulary Force that is filled with pomp and pageantry and celebrating the modernization and transformation of the JCF at this milestone in our national history. Ladies and gentlemen, Ladies and gentlemen, you've just witnessed the dressing of the parade, and this is done to get the graduates perfectly aligned.
Parade! Parade! Chant!
Let me take this opportunity, ladies and gentlemen, to introduce your narrators for this occasion.
My name is Dennis Brooks.
And I'm Sergeant Charmaine Hassel. At this time, ladies and gentlemen, we can see the parade commander is standing in front of the parade. And the parade commander this morning is Mr. Lawrence Gilvey, Superintendent of Police, supernumerary, and he's ably assisted by Mr. N. Daly, Deputy Superintendent of Police, supernumerary, Mr. O'Neill James, Deputy Superintendent of Police, supernumerary, Mr. M. White, Deputy Superintendent of Police, supernumerary, and Mr. D. Patterson, Deputy Superintendent of Police, supernumerary.
Well, the sub-officers on parade today are Inspector R. McPherson, Inspector R. Ruddock, supernumerary, Woman Inspector K. Bentley, supernumerary, Inspector A. Channa, supernumerary, and Inspector L. Gordon, supernumerary. The parade marshals for today are Sergeant Keyhiel Henry and Assistant Parade Marshal Sergeant Hoshain Lennon. Well, this morning we are here to participate in the passing out parade and award ceremony for batches 137, 138, and 140, a combined graduation of 328 constables who are being led by Parade Marshal, as we said, Sergeant Keyhiel Henry and Sergeant Hoshain Lennon.
The parade commander, ladies and gentlemen, have dispatched his inspectors on parade, followed by the officers on parade. The parade commander has taken up his position, and we have heard the first whistle signaling our first arrival. The first arrival, ladies and gentlemen, is Mr. Devon Watkins, Assistant Commissioner of Police in charge of Training Branch and Director of the National Police College of Jamaica. This is his final graduation in this capacity. Today, he will receive a sword salute.
Well, that sound of the whistle is the signal for the second arrival. The second arrival is the Commissioner of Police, Major General Anthony Anderson.
Hail! Attention!
Major General Anderson has had a distinguished military career in the Jamaica Defense Force, spanning 34 years and culminating in his 6-year tenure as Chief of Defense Staff. He served as the National Security Advisor before being appointed Commissioner of Police for the JCF on March 19, 2018. Today, he receives a sword salute.
Stand, ice. Stand, easy.
We have just heard the whistle for a third time, and this signals the arrival of our third specially invited guests. The third arrival, ladies and gentlemen, is the Honorable Olivia Grange, CD, MP, Minister of Culture, Gender, Entertainment and Sports. She is at this time being escorted by Mr. Devon Watkins, Assistant Commissioner of Police, and Mr. Merrick Watson, Senior Superintendent of Police. This is also her first time attending a passing out parade in this capacity. The fourth arrival, ladies and gentlemen, is the Honorable Dr. Horace Chang, Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of National Security. A medical doctor by profession, the Honorable Dr. Horace Chang is the Deputy Prime Minister of Jamaica and the Member of Parliament for St. James Northwestern. He has been serving in the health sector since 1977 and he is here today in his capacity as Minister of National Security. Today, he will receive a sword salute.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is worth noting today that the Jamaican and the JCF flags are being flown at half-mast as we are in a period of official mourning for the late Queen Elizabeth II. The breaking of the Prime Minister's distinguished flag will also be done today. Well, ladies and gentlemen, as far as these batches of distinguished constables who have been well trained here at the National Police College of Jamaica, we are very proud of them today. If we look back at the batches in question, batches 137, 138, and 140, the commandant for batch 137 was Miss Kerry-Ann Bailey, while each campus had a commanding officer. Batch 137 commenced their basic training on November 22, 2021. They initially began at the Camp Verley Training Wing in St. Catherine and then later moved to the Harmon Barracks Training Wing in Kingston in February of this year. Their commandant was Ms. Kimisha Grindley, a Deputy Superintendent of Police, Training Officer, Inspector Jolene Stewart, and Group Inspectors were Sergeant Desmond Ellis and Woman Sergeant Bethune Hutchinson. Their classroom instructors were, for Squad 1, Woman Sergeant Sasha Henry and Corporal Hoshain Lennon, Sergeant Nico Cargo and Corporal Tarek Price, and others. Batch 138 commenced their basic training in December of 2021 at the Twickenham Park campus. Their commanding officer was Ms. Lori Bryan, Deputy Superintendent of Police and Deputy Commandant. Their training officer was Damian Donaldson, and among their group inspectors were Woman Inspectors Karen Cumberland and Janice Walker, and Acting Group Inspector Sergeant Nigel Davis.
Their classroom instructors were Woman Sergeant Debion McLean, Temporary Corporal Romaine Edwards, Woman Corporal Devonisha Brown, Sergeants Cahill Henry, and Sergeant Patrick Smith, Woman Sergeant Dorrit Henry, and Corporal Dwayne Barrett, Detective Woman Sergeant Shellion Williams, assisted by Constable Rajay Ricketts.
The third batch, batch 140, commenced their basic training on March 11, 2022. They initially began at Camp Verley in St. Catherine and then later moved to the Tranquility Bay Wing in St. Elizabeth. The batches have benefited tremendously by a number of extremely competent officers and sub-officers, including Ms. Marlene Christie, Superintendent of Police and Commanding Officer, Training Officer Inspector Dave Foreman, Group Inspector Sergeant Rohan Murdoch, and of course their class instructors. They had a number of them for each squad. Their class instructors were Sergeant G. Thomas and Woman Corporal S. Patterson, as well as Sergeant C. Gray and Corporal G. Bygrave, Sergeant P. Lopez, Woman Corporal N. Anderson, Sergeant O. Megu, and Detective Corporal M. Martin, as well as Woman Sergeant A. Harris and Detective Sergeant C. Box. And finally, Sergeant O. Livingston and Corporal K. Thompson. Those were their class instructors. It is important to note today that you are witnessing a graduation in which the graduands are displaying 3 uniforms today. They are in their tactical wear, in their blue denims, they're in their ceremonial wear, and they are in their, what we would call their street wear, their everyday street wear.
Working dress.
Their working dress. And of course, it is important for us to highlight these different uniforms representing the growing, evolving nature of the Jamaica Constabulary Force. Indeed, it is an organization that is going through its most aggressive period of transformation since its establishment.
While we await the arrival of our 5th specially invited guest, we would also like to tell you a little bit about the Twickenham Park facility and or support campuses. The district of Twickenham Park, located in Spanish Town, St. Catherine, was home to the Jamaica School of Agriculture since 1942.
Yes, between 1942 and 1981 that was, and there was a thrust by the government at the time to urbanize the Twickenham Park area, and some of this land was then given to the JCF to construct a training facility. And the constabulary began utilizing a portion of the land to train officers who were attached to Mobile Reserve Division in artillery and fieldcraft back in 1976. Under the guidance of then Commissioner Bill Bowes, the police training school, which was located in Port Royal, was relocated to Twickenham Park in 1982.
The progress of its expansion continued from 50 acres in 1976 to the present time, where the National Police College of Jamaica now occupies approximately 360 acres of the Twickenham Park lands.
Well, guided by the strategic review of the JCF, the National Police College of Jamaica was established in the year 2014, in the month of June. This consolidated the various training entities on the campus into a single coordinated body. And the entities which operated independently included everything from the Jamaica Police Academy to the Constabulary's Staff College to the Caribbean Search Center, the Firearm and Tactical Training Unit, and the Police Driving School. However, these various sections were rebranded and restructured into three main training faculties: the Faculty of Leadership and Professional Development, the Faculty of Recruitment and Probationer Training, the Faculty of Operations Management and Skills Training, along with several other departments and units. And of course, as part of the mandate to increase the number of recruits for the JCF to serve the demands of the country, new training facilities have been brought on even in the midst of the COVID-19 pandemic.
This graduation exercise today, ladies and gentlemen, is significant for a number of reasons. We're also celebrating Jamaica's 60th year of independence in keeping with the theme, Igniting a Nation for Greatness.
Well, we're looking forward, of course, today for the attendance of our Most Honorable Prime Minister, the Most Honorable Andrew Holness, Order of the Nation, Member of the Privy Council, Member of Parliament, and Prime Minister. He's attending his first graduation in this capacity. Also, the Honorable Olivia Babsy-Grange is here, the Minister of Culture, Gender, Entertainment, and Sports. No stranger to the parish of St. Catherine, of course.
The last occasion, ladies and gentlemen, when we had a Prime Minister attending a passing out parade here at the National Police College of Jamaica was all of 19 years ago, more specifically June 11th, 2003, when former Prime Minister, the Most Honorable Percival James Noel Patterson, was our keynote speaker.
We'd also like to take a moment to recognize some of our specially invited guests. We have in our presence the Custos Rotalorum of St. Catherine, Mrs. Iselin Golding. We also have His Excellence, the Ambassador Nick Perry, the Ambassador of the United States to Jamaica. Here today, of course, is our Deputy Commissioner of Police, the head of the Strategic Operations Portfolio, Mr. Clifford Blake.
Also in our midst is Mr. Richard Stewart, Deputy Commissioner of Police in charge of Administration and the Support Services Portfolio.
And I do see Dr. Kevin Blake, the Deputy Commissioner in charge of Force Development and Logistics Portfolio.
Also Mr. Fitz Bailey, Deputy Commissioner of Police in charge of Crime and Security Portfolio.
We'd also like to welcome today and acknowledge Pastor Dr. Gary Badu Fletcher, the JCF Chaplain.
Mr. Leonardo Brown, Assistant Commissioner of Police in charge of Technology Branch.
I've also seen Mr. Cleon March, Acting Assistant Commissioner of Police, head of in charge of the Criminal Investigations Branch, CIB. as well as the head of the Community Safety and Security Branch, Ms. Charmaine Shand, Senior Superintendent of Police, acting as ACP.
Acknowledging also Mrs. Yvonne Martin-Daly, who is in charge of the Planning, Research and Development Branch.
We'd also especially like to welcome today the Chairman of the Police Federation, Corporal Rohan James, as well. He's here.
We would also like to acknowledge today, ladies and gentlemen, our squad commanders and the supernumerary standing on parade with our graduates.
Indeed, they have put in a great deal of work to bring them to this important point in their careers. We'd like to make mention from Squad 1, Detective Sergeant C. Box, as well as Corporal O. Campbell, supernumerary.
Squad 2, Sergeant D. Blake and Corporal C. Barrett, supernumerary.
From Squad 3, Sergeant A. Burford, supernumerary, and Corporal C. Mason, also supernumerary.
Squad 4, Sergeant K. Wallace, supernumerary, and Woman Corporal C. Gooden, also supernumerary.
From Squad 5, Sergeant O. Robinson, supernumerary, and Corporal A. Bedwood, supernumerary.
Squad 6, we have Sergeant A. Douglas, supernumerary, assisted by Corporal K. Jackson, supernumerary.
Squad 7, their squad commanders, Woman Sergeant Watson Price, supernumerary, and Woman Corporal A. Douglas, supernumerary.
Squad 8, we have Sergeant R. Edwards, supernumerary, assisted by Corporal B. Jones, supernumerary.
We'd like to also recognize Sergeant R. Ricketts, supernumerary, and Corporal M. Davis, supernumerary.
Squad 10, Sergeant A. Bailey, supernumerary, and Corporal T. Price, also supernumerary.
From Squad 11, Sergeant V. Dyer, supernumerary, and Corporal K. Peart, supernumerary.
Squad 12, we have Sergeant C. Lewinson, supernumerary, and Corporal Z. Green, also supernumerary.
And Squad 13, their commanders were Sergeant A. Clark, supernumerary, and Corporal N. McPherson, supernumerary. Once again, we'd like to pay due acknowledgement to the parade commanders out with the graduates today, led by Mr. Lawrence Ogilvie, Superintendent of Police, supernumerary, the parade commander for today. The officers on parade with him, Mr. N. Daly, Deputy Superintendent of Police, supernumerary.
Mr. O. James, Deputy Superintendent of Police, supernumerary.
Mr. M. White, Deputy Superintendent of Police, supernumerary.
And Mr. D. Patterson, Deputy Superintendent of Police, supernumerary. While we continue to wait, we would also like to acknowledge the Jamaica Constabulary Force Band, which is being led by Mr. Doran McCarthy, Deputy Superintendent of Police, and he's accompanied by 20 other ranks.
And during the course of today's graduation, the JCF Band, as we know, will play such an integral role in marshalling of movement today. Getting them to this point has come Well, getting to the point of a graduation is no mean order, and Sergeant, I would imagine that coming to this point, it is a great deal of work. There are points that we will hear, of course, the valedictorians will speak to that, but it is certainly a process that is arduous, hours and hours of fieldcraft, hours and hours of learning the laws of Jamaica, and subjecting themselves to tear gas and so much more. And it's not just about being book bright as well, it is also about being fit and tactical, wouldn't you say?
I definitely agree. If you should speak to some of the constables on parade today, some will tell you that, coming into basic training, I was so excited about all the physical activities. Little did they know that for months they would need to be studying what they like to call the precept. Just trying to know the laws of Jamaica and really getting to understand their roles and functions from a much wider perspective, as opposed to, the day-to-day policing that you often see when you walk on the streets of Jamaica.
Absolutely, and they would be brought in to the constabulary from all walks of life. Some of them are very young and fresh out of school. Some of them would have had all their professional experience, and they come to the constabulary force from various backgrounds, but they come with a common passion for service. Indeed, there are some who would be here who, when they came into training school, I can imagine that they would have been young and naive about what the process entailed. And, they have so much more respect for the work of members of the constabulary today and the difficult task of law enforcement, generally speaking, and more specifically in a country like Jamaica.
It is also important to note that in addition to their basic training, there are a number of extracurricular activities that these constables are exposed to and are expected to participate in. We normally have our competitions in areas such as debate, and that is normally very interesting as the constables research and argue about current affairs. They also are exposed to a quiz competition, which covers all the areas that they're exposed to in their classroom activities.
Indeed. And I've also noticed in many instances, just before the passing out process, when now they are moving into a phase of their life where they are full-fledged professionals, there's a great deal of professional guidance that the JCF provides for them in terms of money management and, just responsible living as members of the constabulary that they are exposed to, because we are producing well-rounded individuals to work in the constabulary and serve the people of Jamaica. Isn't that so?
Most definitely. They're also exposed to weekly lectures where we have the head of different formations in the Jamaica Constabulary Force visiting the National Police College of Jamaica to just speak with these constables and expose them to the different areas within the JCF as also to answer any questions they may have as it relates to, different career opportunities and areas that they may serve within the Jamaica Constabulary Force.
Within the constabulary and the training process that you go through to become a constable, they would have spent quite a bit of time out in the street, because before the final passing out process, there are 7 training divisions that they are placed in. Those training divisions relate to all of Area 2, is it? Yes, all of Area 2, St. Thomas, and Trelawney as well are among the training divisions. And they are placed there and given real-world experience before being brought back for the finishing up and the polishing off, so to speak, here at NPCJ.
Most definitely. The training division commanders are normally excited to have these constables coming out for work experience. Oftentimes they help to, add to the manpower. Many divisions need these constables to assist in their day-to-day policing activities. As such, they're usually very excited about this initiative, and they have always commended the Assistant Commissioner of Police in charge of Training Branch for sending out the constables on work experience, because they're not only gaining new knowledge, but they're also assisting with policing activities in these respective training divisions.
One of the things I also love about the process of producing new constables relates to the fact that it is very competitive within each batch. And so the persons who we will witness receive some awards later today, they are very, very passionate about competing for top prizes, like, in terms of what are some of the prizes that we talk about? For instance, not just the highest overall score, but we also know that the graduates would have been very, very much wanting to be the top sharpshooter, for instance. And when you graduate, and even years later, I've heard many members of the constabulary boast that back when I was in training, I was the top shooter, or I was the this or that, or the awards that you receive are remembered throughout your career in the JCF.
Most definitely. So in addition to the highest markup team and best marksmanship principle, we also have best leadership qualities and best all-round performance.
Indeed, and I'm excited to hear the names of those persons. I'm sure the family members would be very excited when they hear the names of those persons who would have come out on top and through for those specific awards, because it is very competitive and it is a difficult road to the top as it relates to those things. We're very proud of the young men and women who are on display today, because they represent the best of their communities. They represented a difficult process of being finally recruited to the JCF, and so today we celebrate them. You know, Sergeant Hassock, so much would have been made of the need for us to continue training during the difficulties of the pandemic. And I think that the fact that these are persons who would have come in during those pandemic months, even in the midst of it, and they would have come through it, it speaks to their own resilience. It speaks to the resilience of the Jamaica Constabulary Force as we continue to be a force for good, as we continue to produce men and women to serve. And, you know, much has been made of the need to increase the number of people who we produce. Well, as we said, 328 is the number on display today. And we continue to train and look forward to producing more. The fact of the matter is that in producing more men and women of the Jamaica Constabulary, we offset those who, through various reasons, may leave. And so what we are doing is ensuring that we are reaching that target that we are aiming for, to produce over 1,000 new members of the constabulary for the next few years each year. And so we commend the training college for stepping up to the plate and for delivering on that commitment of the High Command to produce more well-trained men and women of the force. And I'm willing to say, Sergeant, that these women and women of the force could stand up anywhere in the world and hold their head high and be competitive with any policeman or policewoman who is trained by any other constabulary. We are training them to the highest of global standards. And that fifth whistle is indicative of the arrival of the Most Honorable Andrew Holness, holder of the Order of the Nation, a member of the Privy Council, a member of Parliament, Prime Minister of Jamaica. The arrival of Prime Minister Andrew Holness. As we said before, ladies and gentlemen, this is the first time that Prime Minister Holness is appearing at the National Police College of Jamaica in this capacity, in his capacity as Prime Minister. The last time a Prime Minister attended a passing out ceremony was back 19 years ago.
Hey! Shoulder! Up!
We'll now have the breaking of the Prime Minister's distinguished flag, being performed by Corporal L. Hilton, Supernumerary. And today, the Prime Minister will receive a general salute.
Hey! General salute! We say up!
Ladies and gentlemen, please stand.
gentlemen, the parade commander gave a report on the status and formation of the parade and will now invite the Prime Minister to inspect the parade.
The corridor openers today, ladies and gentlemen, have now positioned themselves to create a path for the reviewing team as they review the parade. Ladies and gentlemen, you may be seated. And the corridor openers are now in position. Today they are Corporal N. McPherson and Corporal T. Price, supernumerary.
The Prime Minister is reviewing the parade at this time. He's being accompanied by Mr. Devon Watkins, Assistant Commissioner of Police.
He's also being accompanied by Mr. Merrick Watson, Senior Superintendent of Police, and we observe the Prime Minister having a brief remark or words of view with the graduates.
The parade commander is also a part of that inspection team.
The National Police College of Jamaica, ladies and gentlemen, is certainly in the business of training police officers who are equipped to take on the tasks associated with modern-day policing.
Indeed, this is also signaled by the rebranding of our operational uniforms being proudly worn by some of our graduates today.
As we celebrate our 60th year of independence under the theme, Reigniting a Nation for Greatness, it is also befitting that as a force we continue to evolve, that as a force we continue to transform, and we ensure that our approaches are refined to meet excellent customer service we desire to deliver.
Quite so. Well, these constables, we are sure, are eager. They are filled with zeal and enthusiasm as they take up their new assignments across Jamaica. It's the very nature of the Jamaica Constabulary Force to take you from your community where you originate from and to place you in other spaces where you can serve. But indeed, they've given the assurance that they will continue to work and fight to make Jamaica a safer place to live, raise families, and do business. Holness is now inspecting some of the graduates wearing the new navy blue denim uniform. He makes his way around. moment that many of these graduates would have been dreaming of, imagining how they will feel. Certainly many members of the constabulary watching on are remembering what it was like for them many years ago. At this time, the Prime Minister is making his way to inspect the members of the JCF band. As we said, the JCF band is being led under the baton of Mr. Doran McCarthy, Deputy Superintendent of Police, consists of approximately 20 other members. They have been providing us with the beautiful melodies that you've been enjoying during the course of this morning.
The inspection of the band is now complete, and we can see the reviewing party exiting the area that is being housing the band at this time. The parade commander will now, ladies and gentlemen, ask the Prime Minister's permission to carry on with the parade. The reviewing party will, of course, make their way back to the saluting desk, after which the parade commander will once more take charge of the parade.
Ladies and gentlemen, we will now view the parade as it marches past in slow and quick time, ably led by Mr. Lawrence Ogilvie, Superintendent of Police. so well uniformed are they? Three of the constabulary's uniforms that they have so blended with each other that it is almost difficult to catch sight of your family member. Can you see him or her though? Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for batches 137, 138, and 140 for a well-organized and orderly display of discipline through the art of drill. A job well done. A round of applause once more.
taking their leave from the parade square.
Before taking their leave, they ensured that all the graduates were perfectly aligned, as it is important for them to be in exact position for what is to come.
While this may not be the major performance coming up, it's actually a very good time to take out your cell phones, as the graduates in their usual manner will be putting on a little show for all of us.
At this time, it will be very important for you all to listen very carefully to the members of the band, particularly the drummer, whose work will be instrumental in everything that is to take place in just a moment. He will indeed keep them in time, on time. Doing a bit of a handing over for this next important sequence. Preparing themselves. They have their drumsticks in hand, their mallets as well.
Together for batches 137, 138, and 140.
Observe them carefully at this time. They have been perfectly choreographed and aligned to move to the time of the drum. Position themselves. Without the help of a parade command.
And if you notice, the Assistant Parade Marshal, Sergeant Hoshain Lennon, supernumerary, has taken over the drums and is now directing his team by the beat of the drum. They've worked so hard in preparing the young men and women to demonstrate their excellent knowledge and skill of drill movements just by the beat of the drum.
Well, as a people of African descent, we are well versed in communicating through drums. So every drum beat means something to the graduates.
Now, batches before had the benefit of having their junior students assisting them when it's time for them to be seated. Now, we don't have 328 juniors in training, so these constables have decided to seat themselves. Put your hands together for them.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we now move to the second phase of the graduation ceremony.
At this time, we would like to invite to bring welcome and acknowledgement Mr. Devon Watkins, Assistant Commissioner of Police and Director of the National Police College of Jamaica.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests. It is my task as the Assistant Commissioner who is responsible for the training branch of the Jamaica Constabulary Force and Director of the National Police College to welcome you all here today. I wish to distinguish a few of our guests, and I will start by formally welcoming the Most Honorable Andrew Onis, ONPC MP, the Prime Minister of Jamaica. Sir, you're welcome, and we acknowledge your presence. The Honorable Dr. Oris Chang, CD MP, Deputy Prime Minister of Jamaica and our Minister of National Security. Sir, we welcome and acknowledge your presence. The Honorable Olivia Bobsy Grange, CD, MP, Minister of Culture, Gender, Entertainment and Sports. Madam, we welcome you and acknowledge your presence. His Excellency, Ambassador N. Nick Perry, United States Ambassador to Jamaica, and I am aware that he's a son of a soil. Sir, we welcome you formally to the National Police College of Jamaica and acknowledge your presence. Major General Anthony Anderson, CD, JP, and our Commissioner of Police. Sir, I have to welcome you and acknowledge your presence at your police college, National Police College of Jamaica. His Worship the Mayor, Councillor Norman Scott, St. Catherine, if he's here, we welcome you and acknowledge your presence. Mrs. Iselin Golding, Custos Rotulorum of the Parish of St. Catherine. Madam, we welcome you to this proceeding. Miss Amy N. Touchko, Deputy Chief of Mission, United States of America. Welcome, ma'am, and I acknowledge your presence. Mr. Richard Stewart, OD, Deputy Commissioner of Police, Administration and Support Services Portfolio, who is my immediate boss and a person who embraces his role as an educator. Sir, we welcome and acknowledge you to these premises. Pastor Dr. Budu Fletcher, JP, Force Chaplain. Sir, we welcome and acknowledge you. But I want to specifically welcome other Deputy Commissioners, Dr. Kevin Blake, Mr. Clifford Blake, and Mr. Deputy Commissioner Bailey. They are with us. Sir, as we acknowledge your presence and we welcome you in a formal way. Other senior officers of the Jamaica Constabulary Force of my rank and other. Other distinguished ladies and gentlemen, special invited guests, and you are representative of different agencies and in your own right. I want to acknowledge the presence of the Fire Department and the Ministry of National Security and other significant entity who are our partner in this delivery of education, learning and development across campuses. Other members of the JCF and auxiliaries, including the civilian staff who have ably supported us throughout these proceedings. But most of all, families, friends and well-wishers of our graduates, we thank you, we welcome you, we acknowledge you for having agreed to give us your sons and daughters to be displaying in front of you today the skills that you have seen and will be seeing. To my staff, all led by my Deputy Watson, Senior Superintendent, and the instructing staff who led the parade, I want to thank you for the preparation that I've seen you done throughout the nights, even in the wee hours of the morning, at short notices to prepare this team and batch of graduates of 328 to be on show today. Ladies and gentlemen, I wish for you an enjoyable day, and I'm sure you will be very happy to see the products and the production at the end. Thank you very much. Have a good day.
Thank you very much, ACP Watkins. Well, at this time, everyone at every graduation always wants to hear a voice or the voices of the graduates. So next we have the valedictory address. And the valedictorians today are number 22776, Woman Constable Safia Dixon of Batch 137. Number 22883, Woman Constable Chantel Walters of Batch 138. And number 23126, Constable Daniel Berry of Batch 140. A round of applause for the valedictorians.
These are no ordinary constables. The valedictorians, ladies and gentlemen, have been consistent in their performance throughout basic training. And as such, they were awarded, and they will be coming to speak to you in just a minute. Ladies and gentlemen, Constables Dixon, Walters, and Berry.
Put your hands together for them one more time as they come.
The Most Honorable Andrew Holness, Prime Minister of Jamaica, the Honorable Dr. Horace Chang, Deputy Prime Minister and Prime Minister of National Security, the Honorable Olivia Grange, Minister of Culture, Gender Affairs, Entertainment and Sports, Major General Anthony Anderson, Commissioner of Police, Mr. Richard Stewart, Deputy Commissioner of Police for Administration and Support Services Portfolio, and Mr. Devon Watkins, Assistant Commissioner of Police in charge of Training and Director of the National Police College of Jamaica, Mr. Merrick Watson, Senior Superintendent of Police, Deputy Director of the National Police College of Jamaica, His Worship the Mayor, Councillor Norman Scott, Custos Rotolorum for St. Catherine, Mrs. Aislinn Golin, Ambassador Nick Perry, United States of America Ambassador to Jamaica, senior officers of the Jamaica Constabulary Force, men and women, families and friends, and last but not least, my fellow graduates. Good morning and welcome. We are honored to be standing in front of you all to reflect on the highlights and accomplishments of the policemen and women that sits before us today. Graduation is a time of reflecting on the past and looking to the future. It is a time that we as graduates get together for one last hurrah before moving on to bigger and better adventures. And what better way to share these memories than with family and friends? Come along with us on our journey. In the year 2021, we embarked on our policing journey. For many of us, it was the first time being away from our homes and families. We knew little of what our new lives would be like. Though filled with anxiety and uncertainty, we were ready and bursting to go. Because for many of us, we waited months for this one phone call. Our first destination landed us at the Camp Verley Training Wing, where we were quarantined. We gathered from all walks of life and socioeconomic backgrounds, fully decked in our black and whites, all with the same goal of becoming law enforcement officers. Whilst being there, we had to adhere to the COVID-19 protocols, which limited our interactions. However, we still managed to build relationships within our clusters as we learned the importance of comradeship. We formed bonds that today developed into friendships. After a couple of weeks, our quarantine period ended and we departed the Camp Verley training ground to our various training campuses to commence our basic training.
Basic training, there was nothing basic about this training. It was fierce and intense from start to end. We were quickly introduced to a complete change of routine, which lamented the type of environment we are now in. It's game time. We certainly realized that this is now a new way of life. There was no more time. We were now fully government properties. Every second of every day was instructed, structured, and timed, down to our very rest. As we are told, sleep is secondary. Each of our days started with the respective disciplines, whether it was our rigorous PT sessions filled with push-ups, sit-ups, and compound runs, or drill sessions, which quickly turned into field craft. What would warrant that one might ask? You just left, or right, and you will surely be introduced to the long route. As the chief drill instructor thought it wasn't that technical. To think this was enough for one day, you dare not to turn up for a night muster, not knowing the national anthem and the oath of office in its correct sequence and the proper enunciation, or be prepared to have a long night. These nights were not just any regular night. The tone would be set with music and fun activities to include rolling, crawling, and more rolling. In training, what you sure learned was tolerance and perseverance as we fought through obstacles after obstacles, tears after tears. We swam through mud and climbed over barriers, pepper sprayed, and tear gassed. In these moments, we felt as if we were being treated unfairly or humanely, but it was for a purpose. It prepared us to what the real world has to offer. We're not just saying figuratively. We had our own experiences in our own training divisions.
Training division facilitated the practical aspect of training, where we had the opportunity to experience the day-to-day life as a constable. I tell you, this was an eye-opener for many of us. We quickly realized that we carry a mantle that is so prestigious. We were exemplary in our conduct and in all our interactions with the citizens we serve. Needless to say, we are the men and women for the job. We were armed with the knowledge and skills imparted to us from the well-trained instructional staff and divisional training sub-officers. We have successfully completed of this aspect of our journey. Tired and weary, however, it does not mark the end. In the words of DSP Lawrence Ogilvie, we don't stop when we are tired. We stop when we are finished. and this journey is far from being over. We didn't get this far by chance. There are days where we felt hopeless. We faced a lot of uncertainties. We studied and trained hard in an environment we had never been before. But we fought and faced the challenges before us. We are ready to take on the task ahead of us, not just to make up numbers, but to serve without favor or affection in a force for good.
This is a moment to be proud. Graduates, you have earned this moment. Look at us now standing tall, chest held high, looking boasty. Heroes in our own right. A hero is described as someone who gives his or her life for something that is bigger than himself. We are here and have been given ourselves with the promise to serve selflessly. In Jamaica's 60th year of independence, we are pioneers and captains of the ship heading to change with a promise to serve, protect, reassure the people of Jamaica for the next 60 years and beyond, as we work assiduously to build on this legacy. We have closed this chapter and are now ready to be actively a part of a force for good. As graduates, we have taken on this journey with endless possibilities. The populace will expect superheroes, great men, and women with a crest on their chest. Your family will look at you with dignity and pride, a role model for future generations. The JCF will expect professionalism, honesty, and loyalty. But the big question is, what do you expect of yourself? As police officers, you're in the eyes of the public daily. We are tasked with the responsibility of ensuring that our output reflects positively on the Jamaica Constabulary Force, as in our duty to honor those we serve by being obedient to our service calls. We must inspire those to not only believe and trust in our ability to serve, protect, reassure, but to also see themselves as agents of change. As graduates of the Jamaica Constabulary Force, I just want to encourage you all that this is not the end of your journey. In fact, it's just getting started. We've all been told that the sky is the limit, but I stand before you today to let you know that the only limit is yourself. Today, I'm looking at constables, but I hope, or should I say declare, that in years from now, you would have moved on to being officers, sub-officers, and also enhancing on your academic studies. The journey that we have embarked on won't be an easy one, but I hope that we will be our brother's keeper through both the good times and bad times. We were all taught esprit de corps for a reason. Now I implore you all to rise to the occasion. Look at yourself and say you're strong. No one can stop you. Let us be happy in this moment. Give yourself a round of applause. You have done a good race.
Thank you.
And indeed, let's give the valedictorians from batch 137, 138, and 140 a round of applause. They've represented their batches well. Who knows where we may see them in the future.
We will now move to the presentation of certificates and awards. We would first like to acknowledge the class captains who will be representing their respective squads. These certificates will be presented by Mr. Devon Watkins, Assistant Commissioner of Police in charge of Training Branch and Director of the National Police College of Jamaica. From batch 137, we have Squad 1, number 22833, Constable Shane McCarthy. From Squad 2, number 22839, Constable Owen Moulton. From Squad 3, number 22823, Constable Omaria Goldburn. Squad 4, number 22798, Constable Ajay Simpson. And from Squad 5, number 22771, Constable Omario Daly Bennett. And Mr. Bennett have a whole truckload over there
He
cheering him
brought in
on.
reinforcements. Almost thought it was Rising Stars.
Put your hands together, ladies and gentlemen, for the class captains of batch 137. Class captains, batch 137, 1 through 5.
They have all right to be proud indeed. At this time, we call forward the class captains of batch 138, and 138 has 5 squads. Let's make welcome number 22938 Constable Orain Hilton. Number 22921 Constable Marville Ford. Number 22926 Constable Wayne Gordon. From Squad 4, number 22923, Constable Paul Francis. And from Squad 5, number 22889, Constable Romaine Wilson. Ladies and gentlemen, the class captains of Squads 1 to 5 from batch 138. Once again, a round of applause for the class captains from batch 138.
We now invite the class captains of batch 140 to come forward. From Squad 1, number 23112, Woman Constable Casey Anderson. Squad 2, number 23128, Constable Tevin Blackwood. Squad 3, number 23241, Constable Imran Stewart. Squad 4, number 23144, Constable Carleon Campbell. Squad 5, number 23269, Constable Shamal Wright. And from Squad 6, number 23145, Constable Lincoln Campbell. Ladies and gentlemen, class captains of squads 1 through 6 of batch 140.
Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for the 16 class captains from batches 137, 138, and 140. And shall we once again thank ACP Watkis for his function today, presenting these awards.
At this juncture, we take the opportunity to recognize our students who've made themselves outstanding by virtue of their hard work as they've climbed the gamut of academic excellence through commitment and dedication during their tenure of basic training.
Today, you will witness some persons who will be coming forward to receive awards in 4 key areas: Best Marksmanship Principle, Best Leadership Qualities, Best All-Round Performance, and the highest mark obtained.
The first award will be presented to number 22822, Constable Shane Dixon of batch 137. Number 22904, Constable Javon Brissett of batch 138. And number 23245, Constable Javon Thomas of batch 140. And they will be awarded for Best Marksmanship Principle. This award will be presented by the Honorable Olivia Grange, CDMP, Minister of Culture, Gender, Entertainment, and Sports. And we have an adjustment to that. This award will
Constable Dixon hails from Tweedside District in Clarendon. He attended the Edwin Allen High School and relocated later to St. Catherine, where he attended Waterford High. Constable Brissett was born in St. James and attended St. James High. He enjoys swimming and playing football. Meanwhile, Constable Jevon Thomas hails from Mountain View in Kingston and attended Kingston College. He enjoys playing music and football. Ladies and gentlemen, Constables Dixon, Brissett, and Thomas. Thank you very much, Ms. Grange, for presenting that award.
The next award will be presented, ladies and gentlemen, to number 22833, Constable Shane McCarthy of Batch 137. Number 22923, Constable Paul Francis of Batch 138. And number 23144, Constable Carleon Campbell of Batch 140. For Best Leadership Qualities. And this award will be presented by Major General Anthony Anderson, Commissioner of Police for the Jamaica Constabulary Force.
Ladies and gentlemen, Constables McCarthy, Francis, and Campbell.
Constable Shane McCarthy is from Tivoli Gardens, Kingston, and he attended the Excelsior High School. Constable Paul Francis hails from Browns Hall District in St. Catherine and is a past student of the Taysha School in high school and the Jamaican German Automotive School. Constable Carleon Campbell is from Stewarttown, Trelawney, and he attended the Brownstown High School.
Thank you very much, Commissioner. The next award will be given for the best all-round performance, and the recipients are number 22835, Constable Darren Morgan of Batch 137. We once again welcome number 22923, Paul Francis of Batch 138, and number 23187, Woman Constable Shanna K. Housen of Batch 140. This award will be presented by the Honorable Dr. Horace Chan, Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of National Security.
Constable Morgan hails from Old Paisley, Clarendon, and he attended the Clarendon College. Constable Paul Francis served the Jamaica Defense Force for 3 years prior to enlisting the Jamaica Constabulary Force. Woman Constable Shauna K. Housen is from Mount Rosa District in St. Catherine, and she attended the Dintle Technical High School. Ladies and gentlemen, Constables Morgan, Francis, and Housen. Best all-around performers, put your hands together for them, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, the fourth and final award, and one of the awards most coveted, is the award for the highest mark obtained on course. The recipients are number 22842, Constable Kevoni Nelson of batch 137. Number 22912, Constable Mishika Bryan of batch 138. And number 23257, Constable Daniel White of batch 140.
Constable Kevoni Nelson is from Topper Hall, Clarendon, and he attended the Denby High School. He completed the course with an average of 84.25%. Woman Constable Brown is from the parish of St. Mary, and she attended the St. Mary and Marymount High School. She completed the course with an average of 83.08%. Constable Daniel White is from Bull Bay St. Andrew, and he attended the Woolmer's High School for Boys and Camperdown High School. He completed the course with an average of 85.36%.
And the award will be presented by the Most Honorable Andrew Holness, Prime Minister.
Ladies and gentlemen, Constables Nelson, Bryan, and White. At this time, ladies and gentlemen, we would like to once more put our hands together for the highest mark obtained on course recipients.
Certainly, they deserve a rousing round of applause. Put your hands together. They deserve it.
We will now be having a very special presentation, and we would like to invite Mr. Devon Watkins, Assistant Commissioner of Police in charge of Training Branch and Director of the National Police College of Jamaica, to join our Prime Minister, who is waiting for him.
If he seems a bit unprepared for this moment, it's because he has no idea what's about to happen. This presentation was a carefully guarded secret. Many are unaware, but Mr. Watkins, though he is a very young and sprightly looking man, he is embarking on his departure from the Jamaica Constabulary Force. It will be his last time here in this capacity at this graduation.
Jamaica Constabulary Force, National Police College of Jamaica citation in honor of Mr. Devon Steve Watkins, Assistant Commissioner of Police. If your actions inspire others to dream more, learn more, do more, and become more, you are a leader. John Quincy Adams. Devon Watkins is a legend in Jamaican law enforcement whose remarkable leadership and professionalism have inspired generations of former and current members of the Jamaica Constabulary Force. In an impressive career spanning over 4 decades and touching all aspects of policing, he is closing the chapter of a journey that commenced January 6, 1981, before many of us were born. At Port Royal the then site of the police academy, where as an eager teenager from the community of License in rural St. Thomas, he took that first and fateful step into a lifelong love affair with the Jamaica Constabulary Force. From a young cadet at the academy to the director of the National Police College of Jamaica, he has come full circle with numerous achievements and a storied career that won him universal admiration and plaudits, especially for his sublime skills, both technical and instinctive, as an exceptional detective and investigator. With distinction, he has contributed well as a uniformed officer and detective in the capacities of branch officer, area commander, and his overall investigative leadership has been duly recognized locally and internationally. As a specialist with skills and broad experience in financial investigations, anti-money laundering, and the financing of terrorism, he became the founding director of the Counterterrorism and Organized Crime Investigation Branch. This significantly impacted the investigative landscape and prepared a team of advanced investigators. He also served numerous divisions and formations to include Area 4, St. Andrews Central, and the Criminal Investigation Branch. His contributions epitomize the level of commitment and dedication which earned him commendations from both the Commissioner of Police and a National Award for Meritorious Service in the field of law enforcement. To many, he will be remembered as a detective extraordinaire who used his skills to the betterment of the Jamaica Constabulary Force, molding the minds of young investigators, and for the development of the Department of Criminal Investigation Training at the National Police College, where he stabilized and blazed a trail of transformation. He has inspired us all with his unquenchable thirst for knowledge and applied competence. As a lifelong learner, he earned accolades in the areas of business management, marketing, strategic leadership command, national security and strategic studies, as well as counterterrorism from institutions such as the National Police College, the University of the West Indies, the University of California, Berkeley, the War College, and the National Defense University in Washington, D.C. As director of the National Police College, he maintained a scholarly atmosphere At the usual Tuesday morning engagements, he briefly discussed geopolitics and local affairs. The managers were motivated to remain cognizant of issues around national security and other topical areas. He led the team through major periods of transformation, from increased asynchronous learning to the implementation of the new station records and case management systems in the Jamaica Constabulary Force. Mr. Devon Watkins, this token of appreciation is a recognition of your stellar service. The team at the National Police College of Jamaica will be forever grateful for your leadership and inspiration. We salute you. Living each day as if it were your last doesn't mean your last day of retirement on a remote island. It means live fully, authentically, and spontaneously with nothing being held back. A quote from John Canefield.
Thank you very much, Prime Minister Holness and Commissioner Anderson, for helping to make that important presentation to ACP Watkins. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we are pleased to welcome the Most Honorable Andrew Michael Holness, Prime Minister of Jamaica, who is steadfastly focused on building partnerships to achieve the vision of shared prosperity for all Jamaicans through inclusive economic growth and meaningful job creation. Leading an agile and responsive government, the Prime Minister is committed to making Jamaica the place of choice to live, work, raise families, do business, and retire in paradise. Ladies and gentlemen, help me make welcome the keynote speaker for today, our Prime Minister, the Most Honorable Andrew Holness.
Thank you, Master of Ceremonies, Mr. Dennis Brooks. Allow me to acknowledge Dr. the Honorable Horace Chang, Deputy Prime Minister, Minister of National Security, the Honorable Olivia Grange, Minister of Culture, Gender, Entertainment and Sports, His Excellency Nick Perry, Ambassador of the United States of America, Major General Anthony Anderson, Commissioner of Police, the Honorable Iselin Golding, Custos Rotolorum for the Parish of St. Catherine, Mr. Richard Stewart, Deputy Commissioner of Police in charge of training, and allow me special recognition of Mr. Devon Watkins, Assistant Commissioner of Training Branch Director. And Mr. Watkins, please accept my commendation on the wonderful presentation that is before us this afternoon. Officers and members of the Jamaica Constabulary Force, graduating constables, other specially invited guests, representatives of the media, and how can I not acknowledge your family members and friends who have gathered to see this special moment in your life. I am pleased to join you this morning for the National Police College of Jamaica Passing Out Parade and Awards. It is a pleasure to celebrate with you and your families on your achievement, and I am happy to share this memorable occasion with you. You have completed a total of 8 months of training, and this moment has finally arrived when you will be assigned to take up various duties within the Jamaica Constabulary Force as a professional. The initial 4 months of your training was at the Harmon Barracks campus in Kingston, which is back in use as of November 2020 after renovations. The Tranquility Bay campus in St. Elizabeth, which came back on stream in June 2020, and the Twickenham Park campus in St. Catherine. Let me emphasize that with the reopening of Tranquility Bay and Harmon Barracks and the addition of Camp Verley, the JCF has expanded its capacity to train more people simultaneously. There is a cadre of instructors trained to deliver the training program and model the values of the force, ensuring standardization across all training facilities. I want to stop here to emphasize that as I inspected the ranks, I could see the standardization. Though you have diversity, gender, and height especially, your parade was uniformed. And I tested once again, instead of just looking at the physical observations. I asked questions in a random way. And I asked one searching question: why did you join the Jamaica Constabulary Force? And all the answers came back with a uniform core: to serve and protect. Very important. Of course, there were other embellishments. It was always my dream. It will help with my personal development. But at the core of all the answers, to serve and protect. So even though you're seeing different squads coming from different training campuses, the training is standardized, and you're getting a uniformed product of professionals coming out to represent the Jamaica Constabulary Force. I'm also pleased to learn that the training was not only theoretical and tactical. I know that you have gone through a very grueling fieldcraft training, but you have been immersed in the field, in divisions, where you are supervised by sub-training officers. So your training experience has the core of the science and practice of policing combined in what I would like to call the vocation of the policing craft. So it has been a great journey for you these past 8 months. And what we are seeing here is the distillation of your efforts. Allow me to say again, congratulations and well done. On my arrival, I whispered to the commissioner and thanked him for his patience in waiting on my arrival, and said to him that this is just what policing is. You have to be prepared for the unexpected and long hours. But I also said to him that I was truly impressed. In fact, I am very impressed by what I saw here today. In the last fiscal year, just over 1,260 individuals were recruited and trained. And we are on a similar trajectory for the current fiscal year. It is important for me to point out that for many years, we have not had the numbers that our population and the level of challenge and threats that we face require. We have had, for some periods, high attrition in the police force. The government has implemented a deliberate strategy of increasing our numbers. And so we are expecting that this year, certainly with the numbers that we are seeing here today, that we should be able to put out another 1,300 new additions to the JCF. This will certainly help to compensate for the between 450 to 500 that may leave the ranks of the JCF. The idea is that we really need to have a JCF that is appropriately staffed at about 15,000 members. That is what a nation of our size and a nation that faces the threats that we have would require. So our recruiting strategy is working. We have expanded the number of training campuses that we have. We have improved and expanded our training capabilities. And we have put in place a very robust system of attracting persons to the ranks of the JCF. And I want to spend just a little time on attracting members to the JCF. And notice that I was very deliberate in that word, attracting. You would hear recruiting. But it is more than just recruiting. It is about inspiring a desire in the young men and women of our nation to want to join the ranks to enforce the country's laws, to want to join the ranks to uphold the integrity and dignity of law enforcement. So yes, when we recruit, we put in place background checks. We put in place polygraphs, and that is to weed out those who are undesirable for the force. But we also want to attract those people who have it already ingrained in their personality, to stand up for integrity, to stand up for justice, to stand up for what is right. We want to attract those people from communities all across Jamaica to come and join the good fight and stand up for the good cause of making Jamaica the place of choice to live, work, raise your family, do business, and as my good friend, Deputy Commissioner, is about to retire in paradise. The police force is a critical element, a critical instrument in our national security strategy. What is national security? In its simplest form, national security is the sense of safety, peace, order, and certainty that citizens feel about their country, their community, and their sovereign space. We have been building the capacity and capabilities of the Jamaica Constabulary Force to contend with and respond to all threats, internal or external, real or hypothetical, to ensure that we can give our citizens that sense of security. I will be the first to admit that whenever a murder is reported, it sends a sense of insecurity through the country. I will be the first to say that whenever a Jamaican loses their life to violence, it becomes not just a loss to those families and loved ones, friends, neighbors, and community members, but it is a threat to the nation's security. Every Jamaican must feel safe in their country. Recently, I looked at the LAPOP Survey 2021, which looks at Jamaica and Latin American countries. And though there is this incredible sense of fear and misgiving because of the high levels of homicides in the society, the results of the LAPOP study, which is a scientifically conducted study, is very encouraging. The rate of crime victimization in Jamaica fell to its lowest since 2014. The rate of crime victimization measures the percentage of survey respondents that have been a victim of any type of crime in the past 12 months. That is, a victim of a robbery, burglary, assault, fraud, blackmail, extortion, violent threats, or any other type of crime in the past 12 months. Jamaicans who feel insecure in their communities also dropped to their lowest levels since 2014. Jamaica had the lowest rate of crime victimization and the lowest rates of feelings of insecurity in the region in 2021 at 7%. Next to us was Guyana at 11%, and the highest was Haiti at 65%. More than half of the countries in the Latin American and Caribbean region had rates of over 20%. Now, I've presented two positions that, when juxtaposed, seems conflicting. What does this say? Well, let me offer an explanation. But let me put a caveat. My explanation is not the only explanation, and I invite others to analyze and offer their own explanation. My thought on the matter is that the JCF is doing a very good job in addressing crime in the country. Where we have a challenge is addressing violence. And I want to make a distinction. And as I said, it's open to general critique and alternative views. The JCF is designed to treat with crime, to investigate, to detect, to prevent, and to divert. Crimes can be committed without the use of violence, meaning the use of force to inflict harm or ultimately to take someone's life illegally. What we are wrestling as a country, and the JCF as an institution, what we are wrestling with is this very high level of violence in the society. A level of violence that is over and above what could be considered normal for a free and democratic country. If we were to take violence out of crime, Jamaica would be fairly well secured based upon the LAPAP survey. But the level of violence that exists creates this sense of fear and uncertainty. When you listen to the news and hear of homicides in Westmoreland, even if you are in Kingston, you immediately fear for your life. Not that you're going to be robbed, not that you're going to be extorted, not that your house is going to be burgled, not that you're going to be raped. But the fear that you could lose your life because of violence is a real one. So the government of Jamaica recognizes this problem. And recently, I visited with our sister country, Trinidad and Tobago. And they are experiencing the same challenge. And I had a long conversation with my friend, Prime Minister Rowley. And we have concluded on the same points independently, that we now need to treat with violence as a public health emergency. It is not something that the JCF alone should be dealing with or is even equipped to deal with. So, in the coming months, you will be seeing certain measures put in place to support the law enforcement efforts to treat with violence. But violence really has to be treated with as a public health problem, as a family problem, as an education problem, as a social problem. And therefore, the entire society has to be mobilized to treat with this public health issue. Ladies and gentlemen, the government of Jamaica, in coming to this conclusion, realized that the greatest enabler of violence, aside from the social issues, would be the access to firearms. The ease with which Jamaicans get access to illegal weapons creates the means and indeed the opportunity to inflict the ultimate violence. So when you pair the propensity to violence with the means to commit violence, then you will have an extremely high rate of violence in the society. And we must not be ambivalent about cutting off access to illegal weapons, illegal firearms, illegal guns. I heard a member of parliament, and I will put it no higher than that, say words to the effect, and I am not quoting him directly, that the bill, the new Firearms Act, was particularly oppressive because a little man with a gun down there, so. That idea is destructive. Poverty is no excuse for seeking to have and using an illegal firearm. None. There are no freedom fighters here. There is no rebellion force here. Every Jamaican must be a law-abiding citizen. And when we make these kinds of excuses for the possession of illegal weapons, all we are doing is empowering criminals, making it harder for these young recruits who have come here today to offer their lives and who will probably have to face that little young man outside there with the gun. We cannot be ambivalent and duplicitous. If we are serious about treating with violence and if we really want to reduce murders in our societies, then we must put in place the tough measures for those who would seek to traffic, trade, possess, and use illegal firearms in our country. I ask every well-thinking Jamaican to stand with me today against those who would seek to create excuses for our young men and women to take up and use illegal firearms. There is no just reason to have an illegal firearm in this country. None. I have stated my case very clearly, and the law will be executed to its fullest. I am expecting that the new firearms bill will pass Parliament on Friday. Shortly thereafter, it will become law. Every Jamaican, be aware, be forewarned. The penalties have increased significantly. Significantly. And because we have increased the penalties significantly, the government of Jamaica will implement for a very short time a period of amnesty. Immediately there are those who will scoff at the amnesty. Which bad man is going to go give up them gun? Well, really, I don't want you to give it up. I want to catch you with it. So don't give it up. But out of fairness and equity, out of enough forewarning, so that you can't come in front of the judge and say, Your Honor, I did not know. We will implement a period of amnesty. It will be left up, of course, to the Minister of National Security, who is here, and the Parliament, to determine the form of the amnesty. But there will be an amnesty. Ladies and gentlemen, the JCF is not just relying on emergency powers and enhanced security measures. The JCF is transforming before our very eyes. But there are those who refuse to see it, and in all fairness, there are some members of the JCF who provide unfortunately, a distraction to the vast majority of the members who are executing their roles and responsibilities in the highest order. For over a decade, radio commentators, politicians, academics have been speaking out about the lack of integration of technology into the operations of the JCF. And what they usually point to is when you go to a station and you go into the reception area and you have to give a statement, the officer on duty takes up a book. It could very well be the Book of Life, and searches through the pages for a space, and in longhand, oftentimes in excruciating detail, writing out a statement. And this has been the practice of the JCF, I would say, Commissioner, for your 150 years of experience, of existence. Well, just to use this as an indication of how the force has changed, this Commissioner of Police has implemented what we have been talking about for decades, the electronic station diary. We have started rolling out the system at 3 of the 19 divisional headquarters, which include Kingston Eastern, St. Andrews Central, and St. Andrews South. All divisional headquarters will be completed by March 2023. I didn't hear a clap, but I would clap for that. This is a very powerful change to the JCF because it gives the JCF a new tool for immediately making connections, immediately tracking, and immediately analyzing crime data. You know, another element of this, which the public would not know, and I think the JCF needs to publicize, is that a large part of this electronic station diary is developed internally using internal skills of the JCF. Yes, the JCF has internal skills. People who can code, people who write programs, people who are software engineers, people who have PhD in computers, our JCF. Unfortunately, there is just one story being told of our 150-year-old constabulary. Just one side of the story. But we have on display here another side of the story. A story of excellence. A story of competence and skills. Indeed, it is a battle. And as I end my presentation, I had much to say, but I think you have got the message. Life can be characterized as a battle between good and evil. And what we always try to do is to take power away from the evil and give it to the good. Life can be characterized by people who get things done and people who prevent things from happening. And what you want to do is to move power from those who prevent things from happening to those who get things done. And usually, the people who don't want anything to happen are usually the evil ones. There's no difference in this analogy of life in the JCF. It is a battle. And I know from what I have seen here that the good in the JCF will conquer those who don't want to see anything happen and those who have been compromised and are evil. It is the eternal struggle. But I am confident from what I have seen in the new recruits and the leadership that is emerging here in the JCF, that the JCF will be and is shaping up to be and is doing everything in its power to be the force for good. God bless you and thank you.
Thank you very much, Prime Minister, for that inspiring keynote address. Well, ladies and gentlemen, as these constables prepare to go out into the world of law enforcement, it is important that they go forward covered by God. At this time, we invite the presence of the Lord into our midst in a special way. 1 John 5, verse 14 says, "This is the confidence we have in approaching God, that if we ask anything according to his will, he hears us." And so we invite at this time for the official blessing of the constables, Reverend Dr. Gary Badu Fletcher, the Force Chaplain of the JCF.
Congratulations, constables. You have done well. Put your hands together for yourselves. And as you leave these hallowed walls, you must have God's protection and guidance. A psalm that comes to mind before I pray is Psalm 91. And I just take a few verses from it, and then I pray. It says, "He that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. I will say of the Lord, he is my refuge and my fortress. My God, in him will I trust." Constables, thou shalt not be afraid for the terror by night, nor for the arrow that flieth by day. 1,000 shall fall at thy side, and 10,000 at thy right hand, but it shall not come nigh thee. Only with thine eyes shalt thou behold and see the reward of the wicked. I invite us to take a posture of reverence as we lift our hearts in prayer and for God's blessings. Almighty Father, we worship you as Lord and King. We praise you that you are all-knowing and can see the end from the beginning, that you uphold all things by your power. It is with this in mind we approach your throne of grace today to present batches 137, 138, and 140 of your sons and daughters for dedication and blessings. We are cognizant of the fact that being a part of law enforcement in Jamaica is a challenging vocation and demands commitment, tenacity, and help from you, Lord. So come and bless each new constable now, and let them feel your presence near to assure and comfort them that whatever comes their way, you will deliver them. We thank you, Lord, for the support that their parents and loved ones have given to them so far, and pray that it will only intensify as they are deployed to the various sections of the Jamaica Constabulary Force. We commit this noble organization to you again, the JCF, and pray that our commissioner continues to lead with a steady hand. Great successes will result. And know, Lord, for the blessings of your sons and daughters. The Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face to shine upon you and be gracious unto you. The Lord lift up his countenance upon you all and give you his peace, both now and forevermore. Amen.
Thank you, Pastor Dr. Garibudu Fletcher, for those wonderful words of encouragement to our graduates. At this time, we have the parade commander and his team getting ready once more to take their position on parade.
All right, in terms of a message for the graduates, in the interest of time, immediately after you march off, immediately after the completion, we are asking the class captains and the awardees to present themselves under the foyer for a special photo session immediately after we complete. As expertly as they made their way using the sound of the drum, they are now expertly going to make their way to replace their chairs, return and retrieve their rifles, and prepare to parade in review order. They are being marshaled, communicated with solely by the beat of the drum. A few members of the Apache tribe are in audience. Ladies and gentlemen, the parade will now advance in review order.
Before we have the advance in review order, as was mentioned, the parade commander and his team. And there's a little man who wants to join the show. He wants to graduate today.
Already, he's aspiring to the ranks of the Jamaica Constabulary Force. He's already in blue, so that's an advantage. He looks like a future DCP operation.
Parade will advance in review order. By the center. Quick march. General Smoke. Present. Arms.
Ladies and gentlemen, please stand.
Right. Shoulder. Arms. Right. Order. Arms.
You may be seated.
Hey. Inward. Yes.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, the constables on parade will now move to the main event, a showpiece that they have spent several hours, weeks working on for you. They are demonstrating various elements of drill discipline. It requires concentration, discipline, sharp, precise movements. Batches 137, 138, 140, it's your time to shine.
Keep the cheers and applause going. They have spent hours preparing for this demonstration.
They're moving in time to the beat of the drum, being marshaled by the JCF band. Demonstrating precise movement. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't want you to think for a moment that those are toy guns. They are real rifles, and they're quite weighty, as a matter of fact, and they've been training with them to use them at this time.
It is only through drill, ladies and gentlemen, that a body of men can move as you see them being demonstrated here today.
Yes, and one of the purposes of the drill exercise is to enable the commander to move his team from one place to another in a perfectly orderly fashion. Well, those persons who are benefiting from the view of a monitor, they should see that they have spelled something important through the use of the rifle. It is a salute to Jamaica 60. An aerial view will show, if you turn your attention to your monitors, an aerial view will show that they have spelled out Jamaica 6, JCF Jamaica 60. Certainly, if this was August, they would probably feature at Grand Gala.
We salute Jamaica 60. We commit to serve, protect, and reassure for the next 60 years and beyond. Let's hear a force for good.
In position to retrieve their rifles.
hands together for them once more, ladies and gentlemen. They deserve all the applause.
Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the playing of the national anthem. Come to the end of today's graduation exercise. Constables are now marching off.
Parade commanders, squad commanders, and the supernumerary are waiting to join the constables as the team exits the parade square.
This time we'd like to say a special thanks to all of you in the audience today. You've been wonderful guests today. Thank you very much to the families in their excitement urged on the graduates today. Thank you very much to our specially invited guests. It is indeed our hope that the pride you feel today will endure throughout the course of their careers. So you may always be proud of them as they commit to a life of service in law enforcement. Remind the awardees and the class captains immediately after the march off. Immediately after the march off to proceed to the Undercroft where photographs will be taken. On behalf of all of us here at the National Police College of Jamaica, on behalf of all of us here at the Jamaica Constabulary Force, we'd like to say special thanks to several persons. Members of the Department of Weapons and Tactical Training, thank you very much. To those in the support services, whether it be shuttle, tent, seating, barriers, to those persons providing cafeteria services, thank you so very much. To the IT department of the National Police College of Jamaica, the CSSB, the Community Safety and Security Branch, thank you very much.
The external media who've provided media coverage along with our internal media partners, family, friends, and well-wishers, we thank you.
We'd also like to say thank you very much to our colleagues at the Caribbean Search Center, to the parade commanders who so ably did their job today, led by Lawrence Ogilvie, Superintendent of Police, the parade commander, the officers on parade, DSP Daly, DSP James, DSP White, DSP Patterson. Thank you so very much to all of you.
To these squad commanders and supernumeraries, the students are so grateful to have you with them on parade today. We would also like to say thank you.
As they march off, we encourage them to ensure that they familiarize themselves with the representatives of the Police Federation and the Police Officers Association who are here today. They are your representatives. I've seen SSP Christopher Phillips representing the POAIC, the representative, the chairman of the Police Federation, Mr. Rowan James.
Also accompanying Mr. Rowan James, we have Constable Coy Marriott and Detective Constable Nigel Murphy.
Indeed, I've also had sight of the representatives of the District Constables Association, of course. He's here today as well. I'm sure I just saw him, Damian Price, the chairman of the Association of District Constables. Familiarize yourselves, of course, young constables, with those important members of the Jamaica Constabulary Force family.
To family members and well-wishers, we would like to encourage you to remain in position. The constables would first need to go to their photo session before they become available to meet and greet.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again, thank you very much for being such wonderful guests for us here today. On behalf of all of us here at the Jamaica Constabulary Force, we wish you a wonderful day. God bless you, and God bless Jamaica.